by the title. Look, your girl's back to do a motherfucking Real Housewives of Atlanta recap. Okay, I know it's been a good minute and a half, and I'm sorry, I had family business to attend to, and I had to really take care of family, my parents, and that takes precedence over everything, okay? So some of the videos you guys have seen as of late have been pre-recorded, and I have not had the opportunity until really just now to really get to catching up on Real Housewives of Atlanta. It's been on my DVR for a minute and a half, so I had to literally catch up on 3 episodes of Real Housewives of Atlanta. That's how hectic these last couple of weeks have been. However, I've been tending to my family and shit, and I'm back now after now having a little bit of a time, where things have gotten a lot better for me to go ahead and get this recap done. So I apologize that it's been a couple of weeks since I've done one, but family comes first, and it is what it is, all right? So, anywho, we gonna go ahead and get started. Y'all know I recap these motherfuckers as I watch the shizzo, so here we go, toe to toe, like so. Let's flow. So first up, we got Porsha, we got Phaedra. Phaedra done went over to Porsha's house so she could let her know whatever the fuck happened between her and Cynthia. Because y'all know, Cynthia tried to be a shit starter the other day when they sat down and had their little dinner and shit. And basically put Phaedra's ass on blast for having a relationship with Mr. Chocolate, Mr. Hot Chocolate, or whatever the fuck his name is, okay? So she goes over to her house to go ahead and give her an update on how that conversation went down. Y'all know that conversation lasted about 30 motherfucking seconds before Phaedra's ass got up and got the fuck out, okay? So that's basically what the fuck happened. She pretty much was saying, look, Cynthia ain't about that life, and I pretty much left that motherfucking conversation. Then they went ahead and threw a little bit of shade towards Cynthia and her little problems or whatever, and Peter and all that kind of bullshit, and that was pretty much whatever the fuck happened in that scene. So next up, we got Kandi and Todd, who right now are experiencing some marital problems, all right? And so they've been going to Dr. Sherry, some psychologist bitch, and they've been going to her, and Todd's not really been a fan of the shit, and so they were required to do some sort of homework. And so as she's called Todd into the room, talking about her father's book that she done got, talking about some ancestry type shit and how they're doing well with business and shit, but not really doing well personally, Kandi goes ahead and says that we should probably go ahead and get started trying to do some of the homework that this psychologist bitch done told them to do, okay? So hesitantly, Todd is like, let's just go ahead and do the shit. So they're supposed to write down some pros and cons of the relationship, and so, of course, she starts off like, what are some of the pros? And Todd and Kandi start to exchange that shit. And Kandi's all, when we were kissing and yada, yada, yada. And then, of course, Kandi goes into some of the cons, and she's like,
I remember when we would kiss while I was in the car.
Meanwhile, all this nigga think they need to do is fuck, okay? And Kandi's on some other shit. Then Kandi goes into the cons and shit, and this motherfucker gonna be like,
I would have to say your current con is when you just be mad all the time.
So then Todd wanna say some shit about some cons, and he gonna talk about some,
yeah, bitch, your ass don't like dealing with motherfucking problems, bitch.
And then Kandi's ass is gonna be like,
I mean, you got some pros about me though.
And Todd's ass is like,
I mean, you real family oriented.
Kandi's ass is like,
okay.
So next up, we got Claudia, and we got her co-worker, co-friend, her whatever, co-host, Gary, okay? So they're, just interacting. She brings over some lasagna and shit, and they get to talking. And Claudia's sitting there talking about how she kind of fell into radio, and she used to be on television, and then she went through all kinds of shit. And now she's trying to kind of throw shit up on the wall and see what sticks kind of thing. And something that she's been trying to play around with is the notion of doing some stand-up comedy, okay? And you guys probably can already tell she's real quick-witted, okay? And the shit that comes out of her mouth isn't necessarily the most woman-like shit to come out of her mouth. And y'all know I understand that very, very well, okay? So she wants to now try stand-up comedy, which is a very tough industry to break in. And of course, he's just like, look, I don't know. Stick with what you know, it's whatever, blah, blah, blah. And she's trying to kind of expand what she's trying to do a little bit, especially because she kind of thinks outside the box and wants to continue to kind of work outside the box and not necessarily fall into the trap of being what most would consider a female co-host, where you're trying to keep the men in line because they can say whatever the fuck they want. And whereas the woman, they get, talked about or talk shit on if they talk a little bit outside of what the norm for a woman is.
Bitch, I understand. I know what you talk about, boo-boo. Do you? Okay.
However, she's trying to toy with the notion of doing that shit. So we gonna see. He kind of seems to be on the fence, but we gonna see if she really goes ahead and pursues that shit. Now we got this new bullshit ass friendship that NeNe and Phaedra done got together and did. Okay, so now NeNe going over to Phaedra's house. Okay, they friends and shit, and she's super supportive, but the bitch ain't never been to her damn house. Whatever. So NeNe walks the fuck into Phaedra's house, and I just want to know,
who the fuck is responsible for whatever the fuck bullshit is on her motherfucking head?
Now, I did see a couple of previews in the commercials for this motherfucker from the last episode. So when I saw her hair, it was for a quick second, and I was like, okay, let me give this bitch the benefit of the doubt. The bitch is doing some shit for Broadway. I don't even remember what the fuck character her ass is playing, but she must be wearing a motherfucking wig for whatever motherfucking shit she's doing for the Broadway play. Maybe the bitch just got off of rehearsal or whatever the fuck. Maybe she went to a little trial session for whatever the fuck character she's finna play on Broadway. Okay, but when this bitch walked up into Phaedra's house and said she wanted to do some different shit with her motherfucking hair,
bitch,
whoever the fuck told you that that shit was okay needs to have they asses fired. Who the fuck told you to walk the fuck out your house looking like that? Looking like motherfucking death. Looking like a motherfucking Frankenstein character on crack. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. Anyway, she walks up in here with her little new fake ass friendship, because now she trying to all of a sudden be so uber supportive of Phaedra, okay? And the reason why she came over is because supposedly Phaedra done said that her ass is not coming to the little therapy session she proposed because she's going through some shit. And of course, NeNe's like, I just feel like Phaedra is very fragile right now, so I wanted to make sure to check up on her and shit. So Phaedra's talking about whatever the fuck she's been going through and how she's been going to church and Bible study every other day and shit. And NeNe's like, oh, I'm just happy that I've been able to be there for you. And Phaedra's ass is like, thank you for calling me every day. I just feel like you've been more of a support system than Kandi's ass has been. And Kandi's supposed to be my best friend and shit. And NeNe's sitting there just nodding her head and shit. And I honestly, I had to rewind that shit probably 5 times to see what the fuck Phaedra's ass was saying, because I could not at all focus on anything but what the fuck bullshit was on top of NeNe's head. This bitch looking like a motherfucking cleaning utensil and shit, sitting there just nodding her head in her face. Look, if I had a mop and the motherfucker, well, I have a mop, but if the motherfucker wasn't wet right now, I would put up a damn mop, because she's sitting there nodding her head all up in her face and shit, talking about some yes, honey, yes. And all I could do was sit there and look at her damn head. I just wanted to sweep the floor with her shit. Or like pour some pine saw on the floor and just use her motherfucking head to mop the damn floor. Like I could not focus on whatever the fuck bullshit NeNe was saying. So either way, the end of the day, all they were talking about was the fact that Phaedra's confused because Kandi hasn't really been there for her and she feels like she's been there for Kandi, okay? Next up, we got Claudia and the comedian Lunel, all right? And so they get together because Claudia really wants to really pursue this whole stand-up comedian type of situation, because she wants to kind of break free from the mold that she pretty much has at the radio station, since she's on with a couple of comedians and they're all men as well, so there's only so much that she can go with some of the shit that she wants to be able to say. So she wants to go ahead and try her little comedic chops, doing some stand-up type shit. So she was asking her for some pointers in that regard. Of course, Lunel's like, so you really gonna pursue this shit? It just seems like even though people have been encouraging of her to do it, they're still like, bitch, you really want to try to go for this? Because it's not as easy as it looks. And then y'all know, a lot of y'all actually comment on my videos and say the same damn thing to me, like, you need to be doing stand-up comedy, and it's not meant for everybody. Like, I'm not one of them motherfuckers who just come up with my shit in advance. The shit that comes the fuck out of my mouth is the shit that just comes the fuck out of my mouth. Some people are just good at coming up with things in advance and writing out, you know, their jokes or their storylines or whatever the fuck. So even though Lunel's been sitting there saying that, you know, try it out, what kind of comedy club you want to do, yada, 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 you could still tell that she's like, you really want to do this shit? Like, it's just not that easy. So we gonna see. I guess Claudia was taking some notes and trying to kind of come up with some things for her little stand-up act or whatever. I'm very curious if she's gonna actually do it or if they're gonna show it on the show or whatever. So we shall see. Kandi finally meets with Phaedra because she wants to go ahead and discuss these issues before this little therapy session. And plus, I think at the time she knew that she wasn't coming to the therapy session, or Phaedra wasn't coming to the therapy session. So she goes ahead, sits down, has a conversation, And basically, she's just like, I was going through my own shit, and you never called me to check to see what the fuck was going on with me, because, of course, Phaedra's problem with Kandi is the fact that she felt like she wasn't there for her when she was going through all the shit with Apollo's ass, okay? My personal opinion is a couple of things right here, okay? First and foremost, Kandi's gonna be like, oh, well, I was dealing with some shit too. I had to tell my whole family, my whole cast, and all of them that they had lost their jobs and shit. But at the same exact token, Phaedra's situation was way, way, way worse. And just like Phaedra said, this was just a business dealing, but at the end of the day, you're still a millionaire. So Phaedra did have a point. At the end of the day, her situation was far worse. She's losing her husband, but it ain't no husband to me. That was her little co-conspirator, but whatever. Losing her husband, losing her kid's father for 8 years. And then on top of that, all the scrutiny, all the media shit, all this gossip and everything that's been on her damn plate because of the situation with Apollo. So it's just a tad bit, little tad bit worse, okay? So she's like, at the end of the day, you're still a millionaire. You should have really reached out to me, okay? So long story short, them two motherfuckers go back and forth. And of course, Kandi's ass is like, well, how did you all of a sudden become cool with NeNe? And when did it become okay for us to share our issues about each other with these other random motherfuckers, especially NeNe, who didn't give a motherfucker about your ass to motherfucking begin with, okay? So, of course, Phaedra's like, I believe people can change and yada, 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 etc., 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 bullshit, all right? Either way, long story short, they seem to have temporarily squashed whatever bullshit is going on, and Phaedra's still not gonna go to the therapy session. Now the time has come for NeNe's little powwow with Dr. Jeff, okay? Which, Lord only knows how this motherfucker's gonna go. So they all come in, and I think it was NeNe who came in first, and it was Porsha came in, and Kandi even came in. Usually her ass is super late. Then we had Charlie's Angels on crack come in, and they all came in, and everybody sat down or whatever. Then Dr. Jeff goes on to pretty much say, all right, we're going to get ahead and put everything on the table. NeNe wanted to put everybody together so they could try to work through their differences, and he gave the floor to NeNe. NeNe was like, hey, here's the deal. Pretty much the problem is that I feel like, we don't act like women all the time, and there's a lot of beef going on with everybody. And I feel like we need to work out whatever the differences are, because there's some funness in us. We just ain't being women-like or whatever the fuck, right? So, of course, Kenya and her little bullshit of she's always the victim and whatever the fuck goes on, she's going to be like, well, see, that's where the problem lies, because when y'all had that dinner where you made the announcement for this little powwow with Dr. Jeff, my ass wasn't invited, and I feel like, that wasn't woman-like. NeNe's ass is like, well, the shit wasn't done to be malicious. I mean, there was a purpose behind why the fuck I didn't invite your ass. Of course, Dr. Jeff is trying to interject because, when NeNe talks, she does talk at you. The motherfucker don't let your ass speak a word in at all edgewise, okay? So Dr. Jeff is trying to interrupt and trying to get them to kind of talk, very, very womanly to each other, as NeNe was trying to get, everybody else to fucking do. And of course, as he's trying to interrupt NeNe, and he pretty much says and states that he is here to represent everybody, and that he's just trying to get NeNe to talk to Kenya and not at Kenya like she's been doing. This motherfucker, that would be NeNe, turns to Dr. Jeff and says, look, motherfucker, I didn't tell your ass to represent me, and that's not why the fuck I brought you here. You don't know me. And I was like, oh, hell no, bitch. See, why even going through all of this if you're gonna be rude as fuck to the motherfucker you brought in to even do this shit to begin with? His ass don't have to be here, but you wanted to do this because you wanted to bring everybody together so everybody can be on one motherfucking accord, but you gonna go the fuck off on the psychologist for no motherfucking reason. Bitch, get the fuck out of here. See, now, here's where Dr. Jeff kind of goes stage left, okay? So his ass, as they're continuing to talk, NeNe and Kenya's asking why the fuck things changed from when they first made up and shit to the next time they saw her at Kandi's house and shit. Now Dr. Jeff is like,
well, what I'm sensing is that there's just a lot of hurt between the two of you guys, and that you guys both want to establish a friendship and you want to be on one accord.
And I'm looking at this nigga like, do you not watch this motherfucking show? NeNe ain't never in life acted as if she wanted to be friends with Kenya's ass. And even when they quote unquote made up, that shit was some bullshit, because NeNe's full of shit, Kenya's full of shit, okay? Because the minute each other walked apart from each other, both them niggas were talking hella shit on each other and throwing hella shade. Y'all know all that shit was some bull, okay? And they both are at fault for whatever the fuck's going on, and them bitches ain't never and not never gonna be friends, okay? So NeNe had the right to interject and say, okay, well, here's the deal, nigga. Nigga, we ain't never been friends, nor have I ever tried to be friends with this bitch. That's not what the fuck is going down. Ain't nobody hurt up in this motherfucker. Now we go on to Dr. Jeff closing the door on that conversation and moving on to Claudia's ass, right? So Claudia goes on to talk about how she felt as though, you know, 1 minute they were cool and she don't know what the fuck happened from the time that they were cool or she thought they were cool to the time all of a sudden NeNe done threw shade and shit and acting like she didn't know the bitch and didn't want to get to know the bitch or whatever the fuck, right? And then they go on to Cynthia's ass. And Cynthia's ass is talking about how NeNe hadn't done A, B, C, D, E, and F. Okay. And then, I mean, every single motherfucker in the room had some shit to pretty much say about NeNe. Now, you already knew where this was fucking going. I knew from the beginning that NeNe was prepared to fucking leave because I'ma tell you why. Because her ass had a motherfucking purse and a suitcase in that motherfucker. Like, if these motherfuckers trip, I'm finna pack my shit up and leave this bitch, okay? So I already knew that if any of these bitches got out of line and she felt as though she was threatened in any way, shape, or form, or outnumbered in any way, shape, or form, that her ass was gonna be ghost. And that's exactly what the fuck she did. Took her suitcase and her purse and dipset, okay? Because these motherfuckers don't seem to be Team NeNe no damn mo. I don't know why the fuck she felt that this was gonna work and that not one person was gonna say no shit to her. And here's what's so fucking funny in addition to that shit, okay? In addition to that shit, one of her main bitches, one of her main friends, Miss Porsha, didn't say a motherfucking thing. And y'all know Porsha's ass is always talking yin yang and whining out the side of her motherfucking mouth with her little comeback lines and shit. But that motherfucker was quiet as kept, as everybody was supposedly having attack NeNe Day according to NeNe. So I'm wondering why the fuck she was so damn quiet. You know what I'm saying? Because all this time she's been Team NeNe, but you see how outnumbered they were. And Phaedra wasn't there to have NeNe's back. So NeNe got the fuck out. And of course, Dr. Jeff done followed her ass, was trying to get her in the elevator, like, please come back. Please come back, bitch. And I'm like, nigga, if you know what the fuck is good for you, because she might just swing on your ass, you might want to turn the fuck back around and say session closed. Either way, I need to know what the fuck y'all think about this episode, because this is pretty much where the fuck it ends right here, okay? Let me know what the fuck y'all think about, you know, NeNe's reaction to her little attack NeNe Day psychology session that she done put together. Let me know what y'all think about that. Let me know what y'all thought of Claudia's little 2-second run trying to be a comedian, and do you think that that's something that she should try to pursue? And let me know if there was anything else in this particular recap or in the episode that I might have missed or that you've observed or whatever the fuck, okay? And we gonna see what the fuck happens after this. Honestly, on some real shit, I'm over NeNe. I have been over NeNe, and I will continue to be over NeNe, okay? And I think everybody else that's on the show is feeling the same damn fucking way, okay? Anyway, I will hopefully, if nothing changes in my family life, if nothing changes, I will be back with another recap next week. Of course, stay tuned for more videos from your girl. We've got some other segments that are going to be coming back in the fold here very shortly. And if you have not heard my announcement of where I'm going to be heading, because I am coming to the East Coast, and all the details of when and where I'm going to be, okay? It is in the video prior to this. It pretty much says I am coming to the East Coast, so check out that video. I will link it down below. Of course, check out the other recaps in this playlist. Thumbs up this video if you love seeing these videos from your girl, and you already know what to do. As always, follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/SocialiteSandy. Hit me up on my Facebook fan page and my Pinterest page. Those links are down below. Hit me up on my blog, TheSocialiteLife.blogspot.com, and hit me up on Instagram at SocialiteSandy. And you already know I love y'all, and I will see y'all in the next video. Love y'all. Bye.